The year is 1917. Amelia Mollie Maggia is 18, working at a watch factory, painting numbers that glow in the dark. The company tells her the paint is so safe, she should lick the camel hair brush to get a perfect point. It's apparently healthier than vitamins. It's the main ingredient in a health tonic. A miracle cure, they say. For 5 years, Mollie licks that brush hundreds of times a day. Soon enough, she starts getting symptoms. Her teeth start falling out, not just loose. They crumble to powder when she touches them. Her jaw starts to glow in the dark, a ghastly green light which is visible to her doctors, even to her own eyes on a moonless night. When dentists try to extract some of the teeth, her entire jawbone comes with the teeth. The active ingredient has been eating her alive from the inside. But here's a disappointing pattern. We didn't just do this with radium, we did this with lead paint, asbestos, DDT, cigarettes. And now, as you're watching this on your phone, we're doing it again. We synthesized our own kryptonite, put it in everything, and convinced ourselves it was good for us. In each case, we took a piece of our world that held power, and in a rush to exploit it, we turned it into a horrifying weakness that broke us down from the inside out. Today, I'm going to show you the terrifying pattern that keeps repeating and why we never learn. The uncomfortable truth is, our brains kept our ancestors alive with one simple truth. If something works once, use it everywhere. Find fire, put it in every cave. Find a sharp rock, make everything sharp. But now we're cavemen with chemistry sets, and our scale it everywhere instinct is literally killing us. Every substance that eventually poisoned us started as a genuine miracle. Radium did shrink tumors before it started cancer. Lead paint preserved buildings before it damaged the brains of children. DDT eliminated malaria before it poisoned ecosystems. Cigarettes helped soldiers stay alert before it damaged their lungs. The pattern is always identical. Discovery, miracle claims, put it in everything, mass poisoning, shock denial, regulation, and then repeat. I don't think we're learning from history, but we seem to be obliviously repeating it. Marie Curie discovered radium in 1898, working in a freezing shed in Paris with her husband Pierre. Pierre was heard saying that during their experimentation, he had tied the radioactive metal to his hand and watched it heal a scar. And from then, he was convinced that this could cure cancer. When World War I hit, luminous watch dials proved useful in dark trenches for soldiers. But after the war, companies started producing radium products, and they became the unicorns of that era. By 1920, radium was everywhere. Toothpaste, for teeth that glow with health. Energy drinks. Redithor gives you radium energy. Face cream, chocolate, even radioactive suppositories. And you won't even believe this, but they did produce radium condoms. Rich people built spas around radium water, paying premium prices to drink liquid death because it gave them energy. But there were always warning signs. Pierre Curie's fingers cracked and bled. His legs shook so badly he could barely stand. Mary reported constant sickness and malaise while working on their project. Although Pierre died from a horse carriage accident, but Mary definitely died from radiation exposure. But the world ignored the science. It is said that her diaries are still radioactive to this day and will likely remain radioactive for 1,500 more years. She continued to work with it even as her fingers bled and her body ached. Why? Because even though she was a brilliant Nobel Prize winning scientist, she succumbed to one of our notorious blind spots as human beings. The sunk cost fallacy. She had dedicated her life to this substance, and to admit it was dangerous would mean admitting her life's work was also her killer. When radium girls started dying, the companies had internal memos from Harvard physicians proving that radium was killing them. But when Amelia died, they told everyone she had syphilis, because admitting their miracle cure was lethal would hurt profits. The most heartbreaking part, Mollie's sister Quinta took her job knowing what happened. She still licked the brush because that job paid $20 a week, among the highest wages for women back then. But who was supposed to protect them? Innovation moves at the speed of profit. Safety moves at the speed of committees. Right now, you have an Apple Watch strapped to your wrist 16 hours a day. Did Apple test long-term skin contact effects for 10 years? Of course not. By then, the Apple Watch 15 would already be out. I wear mine daily, and it tracks my heartbeat, my sleep, and my steps, and so much more. But has anyone tested the long-term effects of a device that emits electromagnetic frequencies strapped to your body for a decade? We just assume it's fine because the companies say so, and because the benefits are immediate and tangible. Here's how regulation works in a nutshell. A scientist writes a 200-page report about risks. It goes to a committee that argues for 2 years. Then a government agency, funded by the very industry that it's supposed to regulate. Meanwhile, the companies make billions selling the product. The tobacco industry knew cigarettes cause cancer as early as 1950. Internal memos proved it. Warnings appeared in 1966. We didn't treat smoking as dangerous until the 90s. 40 years of people dying while bureaucrats argued about font sizes. You think anyone is testing those TikTok shop metabolism boosters with ancient Himalayan herbs? Those peptide face creams promising to reverse aging. Those detox patches that pull toxins through your skin. They're not. Testing is expensive and kills innovation. Innovation makes money. Regulation agencies don't prevent disasters. They write reports after bodies pile up. But we seem to be following the same pattern after all. We are holding our current radium, your smartphone. We hired casino psychologists to make apps as addictive as slot machines. Teen depression doubled since 2012. Suicide rates increased 52%. Kids developed text neck and lost the ability to make eye contact. According to a Pew Research Center study, teenagers who spend 5 or more hours a day on social media are more than twice as likely to report experiencing depressive symptoms. But we keep scrolling because it gives us dopamine hits while rewiring our brains. Look around. That non-stick pan, coated with forever chemicals, now in your bloodstream. They're in the Antarctic penguin blood and newborn umbilical cords. Those plastic containers, they're eating a credit card's worth of microplastics weekly. They are crossing your blood-brain barrier. That vape to quit smoking, it delivers nicotine more efficiently than cigarettes. Hooking teenagers who have never smoked in their lives. Trust me, we're still licking the brush. But here's the newest one. Artificial intelligence. We built systems that can write, create, and think faster than humans. Companies are racing to put AI in everything. Your car, your home, your job. But who's testing what happens when AI systems start making decisions about your mortgage, your medical care, your legal case? Nobody is testing AI for bias, manipulation, or long-term psychological effects. Nobody. Because testing AI for bias, manipulation, or long-term psychological effects would slow down the race to market. And the first company to market wins everything. We're about to put thinking machines in control of human lives. We're doing it with the same reckless optimism we had when we put radium in toothpaste. Maybe our brains are the problem. Because social media turned every human into a radium salesman. Find something that works for you, obviously it works for everyone. Your intermittent fasting success, everyone needs to fast. Losing weight on keto or carnivore diet, revolutionary for all humans. Companies know our brain works this way. They exploit our pattern-seeking magic bullet craving psychology. There are 3 psychological traps that keep us in this cycle. First, the availability heuristic. You judge how safe something is by how easily you remember success stories. Your friend lost weight with intermittent fasting, obviously it works for everyone. Second, the sunk cost fallacy. Once we're invested in calling something a miracle cure, admitting it's dangerous means admitting we were wrong. Our entire identity gets tied to being right. We're dealers now. Every time you share a miracle supplement on Instagram, that productivity hack on LinkedIn, that documentary that changed everything, you are playing the same role as the radium salesman. I believe we've weaponized our own altruism against us. We don't learn from history because learning means giving up what makes life easier right now. The radium girls knew they were getting sick. They watched co-workers die, but they needed the jobs, and the company promised improved safety. Humans are magnificently, tragically optimistic. We always believe it won't happen to me. The most dangerous phrase in human history is, what if we put this in everything? And we never stop asking it. But here's what happened next. Amelia wasn't the last to die, but her remaining co-workers fought back. It took 2 years to find a lawyer willing to face the industrial radium complex. By the trial in 1928, all 5 women were too ill to raise their hands for their oath. 2 were bedridden, 1 couldn't even sit without a back brace. Fearing they wouldn't survive a lengthy trial, they settled out of court. Each received $10,000 and a $600 yearly fee for life. A fortune back then, but a pittance for destroyed bodies. Their sacrifice led to safer working practices. Lead pointing was banned. Protective equipment became mandatory. While radium stayed in watch dials until the 1960s, no more workers died from radium poisoning. Sometimes the pattern breaks, but only after bodies pile up, only after the lawsuits, only after the undeniable proof that our miracle cure was actually poison. The radium girls died so future workers could live. The question is, who's dying right now? So future generations can be protected from our current miracle cures. Somewhere in your daily routine is this generation's radium. The tragedy isn't that we don't know which one is it. The tragedy is that even when we find out, most of us will keep using it anyway, because we're human. And this is what humans do. We create our own kryptonite, put it in everything, and wonder why we feel weak. The pattern never breaks on its own. It breaks when we choose to look past the miracle and see the kryptonite for what it is. But at least now, you can see it coming.